it going? It's Jessie from Jessie and Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube, and I am back. Yep, I'm alive. So no need to worry, I am still here. Today is Tuesday, October 15th, 2019. I am super not happy about the fact that October is flying. It's flying by. But, you know, that's just the way it goes. So yeah, it's been a little over a month since my last update. So let's just get into that real quick, and I'll just briefly run through what's been the holdup. After my last video, I knew that I was going to be taking a short break, like just to try to remove some things from my very full plate. I was getting a little bit overwhelmed, and FlossTube was just an easy one to table temporarily. So I tried to come back a couple weeks ago and to film an update, and I got about 70% of the way through it, and iMovie quit unexpectedly. And this was at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was losing the light super fast. There was no way that I was going to be able to film that video. So scratch that. Tried to come back last week. Last week I got what amounted to be like a head cold, but like a head cold to end all head colds. It totally knocked me on my butt. Just some perspective for you. I don't watch TV. I mean, we watch a few shows, my husband and I, we do that together, but like the TV doesn't come on most days until he gets home. But because I was laid out, you know, breathing and my face hurt and head hurt and just feeling I decided to start watching Grey's Anatomy over from the start. I've seen up through season like 9, because Danny and I were trying to watch it. Whatever. Not the point. So I was starting to watch it over because I thought, well, if I fall asleep, it's not going to be a big deal because I've seen it already, no big deal. I am 80% through season 3. And I don't watch TV. I don't binge watch TV. Like, it's not my thing. But I've watched like 50 some episodes of Grey's Anatomy in the last week and a half. Craziness. So, you know, that just kind of lets you know how crummy I was feeling. And that is reflected in the stitching. However, because it's been a month, I have a lot of projects to show you. So while I know that the stitching progress has been a little bit slow in the last week or so, it's not going to look like that. It's going to look like I've done a ton, which I guess for a month, I've done quite a bit. Because I have so many things to show you, we are going to do kind of a bare bones episode here to sort of catch you guys up on what's been going on in my stitchy life, and then we'll resume normal programming next week or the next time I film. I'm not making any bets on the next time that I'm back because you never know with me. So I'm going to do works in progress, and I'm going to do stash and some planny things, and that's it. I'm not going to do knitting or books, mostly because there hasn't been a whole lot of either of those things. And then Q&A. I only have 5 questions, and I can absolutely do a Stitch With Me with just 5 questions, but I'd really kind of like to bulk that up a little bit. So if there are any questions that happen on this video, then in my next one, I will do the Q&A and Stitch With Me, and we'll get back on that train. But I only had 5, and I think 3 of them were like super fast answers. So it's not worth doing a Stitch With Me, but I would really like to continue in that vein. So Q&A is going to hold off. So bare bones, but grab some stitching because we're going to be here a little while. I think I have 9 projects to show you or something crazy like that. Okay, before we get into the works in progress, though, there is one thing that I need to do. Back in August, see if I can jog your memories back that far, I set my 6-year FlossTube anniversary giveaway. And I had intended on filming mid-September to draw the results of that and get that giveaway out and to the winner. But I obviously didn't film. So just a real quick recap here. I was giving away a prize pack. We have a sort of half-size project bag that was made by Diana. It is Kismet Stitches. And I have the full-size companion to this. Inside is a copy of Alice's Mad Plant from Bendy Stitchy Designs, our very own Michelle. There is also an Alice needleminder from Top Knot Stitcher. I'm also going to be providing the DMCs called for, as well as the winner's choice between hand-dyed cottons or silks. And then there's going to be some other little goodies in here. So because I tried to film a couple weeks ago, I actually did the draw. However, my screen capture failed. So I don't have a clip to insert here to show you guys me drawing the winner. But before I announce out loud who the winner was, just a real quick thank you to everybody who has stuck with me for the last 6 years, and cheers to another 6 years. And thank you for entering. It was a lot of fun to read your responses. The task that I set was for y'all to tell me who your first FlossTuber was. And so that was really interesting to see. We almost have generations of FlossTubers, because we have some who started watching FlossTube in the very early days when there weren't very many of us. And a lot of people said some of the more recent newcomers as their first. So I just thought that was really interesting to read all that. So the winner of the prize pack is Bob and Leslie Maxwell. I replied to your comment, and so feel free to get in touch with me. I provided my email address, so if you can't find that, then just comment on this video here and I will get that email address to you. We'll get it figured out. And so just a huge, huge thank you and congratulations to Bob and Leslie Maxwell. I'm super excited. So there is that. And one conversation that I had when I started up that giveaway is that I was close to 5,000 subscribers, which is a number that I'm having a hard time saying out loud, but I have surpassed 5,000 subscribers. And I just don't know how to feel about it. So thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel over the years. I need to start up a giveaway for that, but that's not going to happen today because I don't have that organized. I've got what I've got to show you today, and that's about all I could do for today. So that is going to be it for the giveaway talk. Congrats, Bob and Leslie Maxwell. Look forward to hearing from you, and let's get started talking about some projects because I've got quite a few here. Okay, y'all, say it with me now. The last time we spoke, I was working on Flowers of the Month by Maurer-Stroh. And I was working on that for Spin Me September. I'm going to see if I can jog my memory and remember these things. Spin Me September, and I was also involved in an event. So I had to continue working on this project through into Friday, that Friday way back when. The actual days aren't going to matter, but nonetheless, it's going to help me with my timeline. So this is on a 32 count Belfast in Cream by Zweigart, and I was working on April's Sweet Pea. And as you can see here, I finished the block. I had to get a fairly high number of stitches by the close of that event, and by the time I reached that point, I was pretty close to the finish line, so I just went ahead and finished it. And I love it. I think it turned out really, really pretty. So you will have seen a preview of the full design, and now I'm going to insert a preview of what the model looks like. And I point that out because this is a lot lighter. It's not as bold. It's a little bit softer. You can still absolutely see what's going on. You can tell the shapes of these flowers. I just thought that was really interesting to see the difference between the actual stitch version and the mock-up. So there's that. And then I used the darkest shade from the flowers themselves to stitch Sweet Pea there in a cursive backstitch. I Googled a free backstitch font to do that. So I have now 4 flowers done in 4 years. It's pretty good. And I'm really enjoying it. I like the way that it's turning out. I think it's really pretty. And I'm hoping to get back to this in November to continue on and get at least 2 more flowers done. I know that I said my goal was to get 3 more done after this point. But I think if I can get 2 more done, I will be satisfied for the year. But we'll see. So there is that. This is a freebie series. It's available online. I have it linked in the description box below, so go grab that if you are interested. So that took me well into that Friday. And I remember that day specifically because that was Friday the 13th in September. And when I filmed last, I was talking about the fact that I was planning on a new start to celebrate the fact that it was Friday the 13th and it was a full harvest moon. And so I sort of asked you guys to vote on which project you thought I should start. So the one that I started is not the one that won. I just wanted something that you don't see as frequently. And the 2 projects that won are definitely more prevalent. They're a little bit more common. And I just wanted to do something just a little bit different. So the one that I chose, first of all, it's living in this beautiful bag, which I believe is from the Pineapple House. This is Blackwater Hollow by Stacy Nash Primitives. And I was so excited to start this. Finishing up Sweet Pea, April Sweet Pea, took a lot longer than I was anticipating. And then I had to pick colors. And that took a while. It took me a long time to sort out the colors. There's only 6 colors of Gentle Arts called for. But I agonized over it for a very long time. Okay, so there is that. And I started at like 11:15 at night. And the fabric is 32 count Belfast in Colonial Parchment. So this is the other half of my Colonial Parchment. And there's my little sad start. Super sad, right? Just the very first few stitches in one of these flowers, and I don't even know which one it is, but it's one of those. Yeah, sad start. But as y'all know, I had plans for the weekend. Maybe you know, it was a long time ago. I had plans for the weekend to work on something else, and so I could really only give this project Friday evening, and then it had to go away. Never fear, it is in my October plans because it's kind of spooky-ish. So it's going to come out at some point this month, I think. We'll talk about it. So yeah, there's that. And I love this fabric. Colonial Parchment is so one of my favorites. So that's all I got on a Blackwater Hollow. And then first thing Saturday morning was the kickoff to the Full Coverage Fanatics. See if I can remember this. Ancient something weekend where we had to pull out our oldest work in progress, our oldest full coverage piece, and work on it for the weekend. There were no stitch counts or anything like that. It was just work on it for the weekend, see how far you can get. And my oldest, fortunately, is my only HAED for this year, and that is in this moment. This is artwork by Jeremiah Kettner, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, aka Mika McKenna. Sorry for calling you old. It's only 4.5, it's fine. Anyway, so I did pull this out for that weekend. Now, so I worked on it for that weekend, and then I came back to it later because I wanted to finish the page. So the progress that I'm about to show you here is definitely not what I accomplished in that weekend. But my before and afters, I'm going to set it up in a way so that you can see the what I got done during Ancient Adventures and then what I got done overall. Most of you will know what I worked on or what I accomplished in that time, but just in case this is the only place you see me, sorry for bumping the table there. I stitch all of my full coverage designs on 25 count. This is a Lugana from Zweigart in the colorway Cream, and I was working on page 11. aka her face page. Yeah. So when I started in that weekend, I was up here in her hair that was kind of curving around her forehead. And then I think that I got into her face, maybe just barely by the end of that weekend. And so I really wanted to get back to her to finish the page because the colors in her face scared me the whole way through. Suffice it to say that I had a mantra: 3-foot rule, trust the pattern. 3-foot rule, trust the pattern. It reached a point where Danny started saying it. Because here's the thing. We go from the early 200s ranges of purples to Blanc. Like almost immediately. There is very subtle shading in there, if much at all. And so as I'm working the page in my diagonals and I'm seeing this, and it's looking harsh and it's not very pretty. But the thing with these designs is that you need the whole picture to take away from those tiny details. So I know that it's like that for light. You can see that there is a light source from this design, and it's about over here. So I get that. It's just, you know, when I'm up close to it, working on it, it was a little scary. But I got her whole face, and this is her whole face. These stitches down here are her chin, and then it'll start going into her teeny tiny little neck. Right there. So this is the end of her face. And by finishing the whole page, it does soften that. It doesn't make it so garish and just not very pretty. It softened it all up, and I love her again. I was really scared though. I kept going because what was I going to do? Not finish this project? Just give up on the last, 4 or 5 years? Nope. No. So I had to keep going. Fortunately, it all paid off in the end. And I am super, super pleased. So my goal for the year was 6 pages, and I have now done that. No, my goal for the year was 7 pages, but I have completed 6. At the start of the year, I had 6 pages done, just in the first 3 diagonals of pages there. So I've doubled the number of pages this year, which is pretty cool. 1 more page to go for my goal, but I'm contemplating trying to finish the diagonal. It's 3 more pages. I don't know if I can do that. That might be too big of an ask, since I'm not working on her here in October. Oh, she's beautiful. Yeah, I'm super, super enjoying that. So that is in this moment. At some point in that time frame, I worked on Spooky Countdown again. And I'm going to show you that here in a minute, but just know that it's coming. But I did work on that in there for a reason, probably homework. Okay, so finish the page up on In This Moment. I then had a new start. So the sort of the reason why I was having this new start, Lily at 42 stitches was getting ready to have her little man. His due date was fast approaching, and her birthday was also fast approaching. It was in a similar time frame, and so she decided to have a birthday Sal. And I was, I don't really have a need to start a bird sampler, and so I wasn't sure what to work on for her birthday Sal. And then I stumbled on this. And this is Barbara Anna's Portuguese bird sampler. And so the premise for her Sal was she was starting, I believe, Angel of Love from Lavender and Lace. So a bird sampler or something related to love or an angel. And this is none of those things. However, Every time Danny and I are playing a game that is even remotely Portuguese related, Lily's like, "Oh, there's another one." So I thought this was pretty perfect. And the verse in here talks about friendship, so I thought that was pretty good to start for her birthday. But here's the thing. The other reason is Sampler September, because I was all about the Sampler September. I was trying to find something to fit all the things that I wanted it to. So here's the thing about this design. It's massive. It's so big. It's not really like ginormous, but I believe it's 237 by 335 or something like that. 275 by 335. So it's wide and it's tall. It's a big design. And I didn't have fabric. I think I was going to start this earlier than I actually did because I couldn't find fabric in my stash. I wasn't really prepared to order anything, so I was kind of like, well, I can't do this. So I go into my office and I start pulling some things for Dark October. And I happen to see this piece of fabric sitting here, and I'm like, what is this? It was 40 count linen from XG Design, and in the colorway Old Linen, which I had pegged for Martha Agnes. But I don't have any intention of starting Martha Agnes, so I pilfered it, and I was able to start this sometime towards the end of September. And I was so excited. And then, come to find out, Mev from Mev Stitches in Paris was starting this design for Leah Noel's Aviatrix Stitcher's birthday. So it was really kind of cool that we started this kind of at the same time. I felt really, I don't know, that was pretty cool. So I got this started, and it's charted in DMC. There's approximately 45 shades of brown in this design. I'm exaggerating, but only slightly. And I decided to convert to hand dyes. I wanted to convert entirely to color and cotton because color and cotton is not called for, and this is fairly simplistic, so it lends itself to some hand dyes. And so I thought, if I can make this work in color and cotton, that would be awesome. Color and Cotton's range of browns, at least what I have, it leaves a little something to be desired. So I have a mix of Color and Cotton and Gentle Art sampler threads. And there's just a ton of colors in this. Just a ton. And a lot of them are brown. Or maybe brown. So here's where I started. I worked on this for a few days, so the progress is much more than on Blackwater Hollow. Oh look, my A and N completely disappear. Let me bring it in close. Those threads are really light. I knew they were. Y'all can barely see that. It's a Color and Cotton in a pale blue, and the chart calls for a pale blue, but it's a little bit brighter than what I'm working with. I'm not ripping it out, I'm leaving it. And I can see it just fine here in person. I believe that's Fallen Cloud or something like that. But I love this. I love this. I think it's turning out really, really pretty. And yeah, so this is going to be a work in progress for a while. It's going to be a Sampler September project for years to come. And I love it. It's that simple. I love it. I think this was the only thing I worked on towards the end of September. Yeah, this was the last thing I worked on in September. So anyway, I love this, and I can't wait to get back to it. And I keep saying I love it because I love it. So there's that. Oh, that's right. Okay, September 30th. I was just thinking there. September 30th. I was thinking, I'm really enjoying this sampler business. This Sampler September has been a lot of fun, and I wrestle with Sampler September because I really enjoyed it and I want to do that moving forward. maybe in the years to come, I would like to do like an entirely devoted sampler September. But then I really like kind of spending a month on In This Moment or a full coverage design and knocking out 2 or 3 pages. So I kind of have to figure out, and September seems to be the time that I do that. So I'm going to have to try to figure out a way to handle that. But that's not for a few months. So there's that. So September 30th, the whole reason I walked you through that is that I wanted to have another new start. Ultimately, I didn't, because what I was in the mood for was like a true reproduction sampler. Schoolgirl's first, last name, and a date probably starting with 1800 something. I wanted a true reproduction sampler. And I just don't have it in stash. I just don't have that. I have a couple that I have purchased from Merry Wind Farm, but nothing that I was willing to start right then. I have plans to start Leah Gronow in November, but that's not till November. So anyway, the long story short is that I didn't end up getting my new start that last day of September, and I don't even think I stitched at all that day. But that's okay. Why is that okay? Because the next day, Dark October stitching started. And I was so ready for Dark October. So ready. I have been really excited about the projects that I have already on the go, as well as the ones that I was getting ready to start. I was giddy. I was so here for October. And I still am. I wish it would slow down a little bit because it's flying. So October 1st was not only the kickoff to Dark October Stitching 2019, but it was also Amy of Amy DeVille. It was her birthday. And since the summer, I have had it in the plans to start this project here. This is Ravenkin by Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Selena Finnick. I absolutely adore this design. And I was so thrilled to finally get to October 1st and to get it started. I know that Amy and I had talked about starting a Raven HAED at about the same time, but it worked out for me. All good. And so I'm going to be referring to this as Amy. Yeah, I know I already have a project named Amy, but whatever. It's fine. So, yeah, I was excited to start this. However, take a look at that page. Y'all see that? I know that a lot of people get really excited about big blocks of color and background stitching because it goes super fast. I like confetti, and this is not fun for me. This is not so much fun. So, it looks like a mass of black. In fact, it is a mass of black and navy. So, I am having to pay attention to my pattern because it's patterned and there's, a stitch of blue and a stitch of black and a stitch of blue and 2 black and then 4 blue. I've got to pay attention, whatever. But really, all I'm getting is a black blob. That's all it is. So this is not so much fun for me to stitch. I was really excited to start it, and so I got, I think, 1,300 stitches here, and that was probably a large portion of new start adrenaline. Yeah, so there's that. The fortunate thing is that it appears that, at least for a while, this is the only page that's really boring. Page 2 contains this bird. So I'll get at least something that looks like something once I get to that point. But yeah, I was, I was a little bored. I finished that up in 2 days. And like I said, it was 1,300 stitches. So, that tells you how fast it goes. And then I was ready to move on. So I was ready at that point. I was ready to move on to something that actually looks like something. And I had sort of toyed with the idea of October, I was going to go back to the tiny decisions and spin a project every couple of days. So that's ultimately what I did. And the project it pulled is Away We Ride by Blackbird Designs. Now, I know that at the beginning of this year, I reached my year-end goal with it and it went into UFO, but that doesn't matter here in October. None of that matters. So I'm going to get to work on all of the things, including this, Hortus Venenum Poison Garden, Hocus Pocus, you name it, I'll be able to work on it this month. So long as it's dark October stitching. So I pulled this out and I worked on it for a few days. And then I got a little burnt out with it. I think I had intended on finishing it this month. And I got burnt out because it was taking longer than I expected. So on Monday, the Monday where I got sick, so a week ago yesterday, I switched to Hocus Pocus by the Prairie Schooler. And I thought, okay, I'm going to work on that. And then I started feeling like garbage. And then I had to frog stitches on Hocus Pocus. And so I was starting to feel bad. And so I gave up and stopped stitching. Then on Tuesday, in the mornings, I was feeling pretty good. Probably coffee induced. And for an event of some such, I needed to go back to this. And so I went back to this last Tuesday. And then I didn't stop. And I didn't stop until yesterday when I put in the final stitch. So I'm going to be showing you my finished Away We Ride. I'm so excited about this, you guys. This is on a 32 count Belfast in Sassenach by Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And it may turn me blue because color balance, but that's okay. And with this, my very first Blackbird Designs is finished. So mine looks a little different from the original, and that's because I did a color conversion for the most part. I didn't have most of the general arts that were called for, and so I subbed from Stash. The only exception to that is the house. The facade of the house is done in 2 colors, and it's meant to look grungy and funky and cool and weird. So I ordered the 2 colors that were called for because I just wanted to make sure that that looked how it was supposed to. But everything else is something, a close substitution, I think is what I'm calling it. It's not really a conversion, but a close substitution. And if you are curious about which colors I used, I posted that to Instagram with my finished post, so head on over there if you're curious. I love this. I'm so thrilled with it. And I'm also happy to be done with that border. The border is beautiful and I love the effect of it, but whoo, that was intense. I think that it was really just that I was so close to the finish line. I was finally feeling better. And the border was the only thing standing in my way of the finish line. And I had like this bottom section to do over the last couple of days. Anyway, I got it done and I am just so excited. So excited. So I started this on October 11th, 2018 during Dark October last year. And I believe it was a total of 18 stitching days to finish this. Pretty good. I love it. It's my 11th finish for the year. And I'm so excited. I tried really hard to finish it on Sunday because Sunday was October 13th. So a dark 13 stitching finish in Dark October would have been perfect, but I just couldn't get it done. Too much border. So that's okay. I love it. It's beautiful. So excited for the finish. Before y'all start asking where's the frame, I just finished it yesterday, so give me a little while, like a couple years or something. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, super excited to have that finished, and I'm gonna need a whole lot more Blackbirds in my life because that was really a lot of fun. Okay, So, starting today, I trying to navigate all of the events and make sure that I'm participating in all of the things that I want to, as well as at the level that I want to. I had to sit down and figure out what I was working on moving forward. And so basically what it boils down to is now I'm working on Spooky Countdown, and I may be working on that until finished. I'm in the mood for finishes right now. And so I will just ride that train for as far as it takes me. So let me go ahead and show you where I'm up to with Spooky Countdown. And since the last time you guys saw this, I've made a lot of progress. So I will walk you through that. This is also on Hand-Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, this time in gingerbread. And here is where I am up to. Okay, so the last time, let me see if I can do this. Good. Okay, the last time y'all saw this, I was in the midst of this block here. And it wasn't quite finished. I had a little bit more to do. So in that week, in September when I worked on this, I did this row of blocks. My year-end goal was to get through this block here. And so year-end goal accomplished. So then this morning, I came through and finished up the witch block and got started on the scarecrow block here. And at some point you'll have seen what this will look like finished. I basically have 2 rows of small blocks left, including one mostly full coverage, and then one of the bigger bands down on the bottom, which I don't think should take too long. I think I have 5 or 6 good days to see this finished. Yeah, I think 5 or 6 good days would see it done. And I love it. Once again, I'm doing a color substitution on this one for the most part. Some things are the called for DMCs, such as the dark gray in the rat and this orange here on the demon. But I also have a hand-dyed orange and a hand-dyed gray. The black is Anchor Black because that's how I do. Y'all know me in October, Anchor Black all the way. And so yeah, that is where I've reached with this one. And I am loving it. Absolutely loving it. Very pretty. So I think that I'm going to work on this until finished. But this weekend is Stitch Fest, and so I'm kind of on the fence about that. But I'll talk about plans here in a second. And I think that that's the last of the things that I have worked on. So I guess we'll talk about plans now. So my plans for October are kind of up in the air a little bit because I was sick and I went a little bit monogamous to finish A Wavy Ride. Now I'm kind of feeling that for Spooky Countdown. And the title, Hocus Pocus Focus, which is just fun to say, that's another one that I would really like to focus on and finish. So I'm not really sure how the rest of this month is going to shake out with it being halfway through. I don't know. We'll see. But the basis for my plans for October was this here. This is the acrostic for 24 Hours of Cross Stitch. I created a new one because I changed things all up and I wanted a fancy, spooky font. And so the spell it out for if you're doing the Dark October one is Dark October XS, Dark October Cross Stitch. And the same rules apply. It's you pick either time or stitches, and you pick your level and make it fit however you think you can. So I took the sort of 13 idea and ran with it. So I have 13 different projects here, one for each letter. I didn't double up anywhere. On top of that, I'm not doing any of Jen's prescribed levels. I'm doing 1,300 stitches on each of these. So it's quite a lot not done yet, being halfway through the month. So we'll see. I have a wheel. I have some things coming up that may help me get through this, but I'll talk about that here in a second. So that's kind of the idea. The usual suspects are on this list: Horror Movie Alphabet, Halloween at Hawker and Hollow, Cricket Collections October, Poison Garden, Hocus Pocus, Blackwater Hollow, and then a few of my new starts are in here. So let's go over that. I have 2 official more new starts planned for this month. One of them was supposed to be a Sal, but, well, if I start it, then it's still a Sal. But it's Plum Street Samplers, Jack's Bash. And this has been in the plans to start since this time last year. So I am finally going to get this started. I just have to find fabric, or maybe buy some this weekend. But nonetheless, so there's Jack's Bash. Okay. The other is Thine is the Trick and the Treat by Prayer Moon. My Halloween Quaker unicorn find. So this is also going to get started at some point this month. I'm going to have to grow hours. Okay. On October 13th, 2018, I started a project called Merry Halloween by Pineberry Lane. And in the process, I finished that project at Stitch Fest 2018. So I was really trying to get Away We Ride finished on Sunday the 13th, in part because a finish on the 13th would be great, and in part because I wanted to start Jiggity Jig by Pineberry Lane, which I am calling a companion. It's not really a companion to that, but I'm going to stitch it up as such. And so I thought, well, how cool would it be to start this on October 13th, 2019, and then finish it at Stitch Fest 2019 this weekend? That would be fun, right? So I may be starting this at Stitch Fest. And I have the other half of my Brigid by Under the Sea Fabrics 32 count Belfast for that. Those other 2 I haven't chosen fabrics for, which is ironic. Anyway, so that could get started. And then, in the discussion of Stitch Fest, I was thinking back to last year's Stitch Fest. And just what a great time we had. And I thought that I would start this because Angela, Gibbs Girl Stitches, she started this while at Stitch Fest last year. And she's not going to make it to Stitch Fest this year, which is a bummer. But I thought that would be fun. And then, recently, I was watching Deborah of Stitch the Stash, and she's talking about starting this coming up here. So this could get started. Maybe this weekend, maybe later in the month, I don't know. Okay, so later in the month, let me see, October, I think it's the 25th through the 27th, I think. Let me look at that real quick. Nope, the 23rd through the 25th. 23rd through the 25th, Wednesday through Friday. Danny's going on a work trip. And I really did not do very well with 24 hours of cross stitch this past round. So I thought that I might do 24 hours of cross stitch, take 5, take 2. Because I enjoy the 24 hours of cross stitch. And if Danny's going to be gone, then I have the freedom to be able to do that potentially. I can't even remember what happened, but it was a bad weekend. Oh, that's right. I had my eyes dilated in the middle of a marathon, a stitchy marathon. Silliness. Anyway, so I think that towards the end of the month, I'm going to have 24 hours of cross stitch, take 5, take 2, or take 5.5 or something like that. So I don't know what I'm going to do for that. I did contemplate doing Hocus Pocus because I would like to finish that this month, and so maybe that would be fun to work on that through my own 24 hours. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. The whole point of this is that I don't know what I'm going to be working on here in the coming weeks, or in the coming week. I know that I'm working on Spooky Countdown now, and the rest, I guess we'll see what happens. I think that is it for the plans. Yeah, I don't have anything else here in plans. So let's switch over to some stash acquisitions. We're kind of moving pretty quick like through this. I'm not too mad at it. Okay, y'all, buckle up. There's quite a bit here. But here's the thing. It's been a month, and I have some of my Christmas presents in here. And I don't know if y'all will remember this, but October of last year, Danny went to New Orleans for a work trip. And I was super jealous, and I wanted to go, but I wasn't able to. It wasn't a bring your wives thing. It was a just company thing. So I, because of that, got some, sorry, I'm going to New Orleans without you, honey. Here, take my credit card. So at the end of October here, they're going to Minnesota. And once again, no wives on this trip. So I got some more, honey, I'm sorry, I'm going to Minnesota without you. Here's some spending money. So that's kind of what some of this is. Anyway, whatever. So we're just going to go through this. And we'll go through it. So first things first is Cottage Garden Samplings, Songbirds Garden Series number 12, the final of the series. This is Heart Full of Gratitude, and it's beautiful, as was this entire series. I'm so curious to see what Vinny's going to do next. But this is gorgeous, and I will stitch it eventually. So there's that. I have placed a couple of orders with Abby, Top Knot Stitcher. She posted that this one was available, and so I had to go get it. It's Michelle Obama. And also, I'm introverting. Yep, had to grab those. And then this pretty little button was a freebie. Thank you, Abby. And Jem. Yeah, I love this. So I have my Obama, I Miss You. And then I have one of Michelle. Love her. Love that. Okay. And then more recently, I placed another order because she posted that this one was available. And glare. But it says, I'm so glad I live in a world where there are Octobers. With those pretty little pumpkins. And a raven. Because I needed a raven. And that's one of those laser cut wood ones. Gorgeous. Thank you, Abby. I got some color and cotton at some point, and I'm not going to pull these out of the plastic because these are ancient, and they're at least 2 weeks old, so I'm not even going to go through these. These are the primitives. They're beautiful. These are the all colors. They're also beautiful. I actually really like that yellow. Yep, good stuff. I'm zooming through this because there's a little bit to get through. Okay. Do y'all remember the 1, 2, 3 stitch package that grew legs and ran away and went traveling? It finally arrived. So the whole purpose for the order was for this. This is 40 count vintage wild rose linen from Lakeside Linens. And I thought that it was going to be more peachy. It's pink. It's just a bubblegum baby pink color. And it's not terribly variegated. So I thought that this was going to work for my restart of the Good Housewives with my needle, but I'm not doing it on pink. So there's that. And then while I was ordering that, one piece of fabric should never travel alone. And this was in their clearance. This is 40 count Sea Fog by R&R. And again, this is not showing up as I expected it. It's like a really pretty green. It's a very soft green. I was expecting something darker than this, but it's beautiful nonetheless. And it was on clearance, so I'll take that every day. And to continue in the vein of the Halloween Quaker obsession, this is Halloween Quaker from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. Very pretty. Only a few colors called for in this one, which that's pretty cool. I almost started this because why not? Okay. Thine is the trick and the treat. It was determined that that is my Christmas present. And so Danny got me all of the things that I would need for that. And that included the silk. When I first received the chart, I asked you guys if you had any recommendations for silk for me. And Rita Marie from Rita Marie's Stitching Adventure, real quick, had a suggestion. And it's a done deal. It's so beautiful. I have here my first hank of silk from Silks For You. It's coming in more blue. It is a dark charcoal black, very, very barely tonally variegated. It's mostly pretty solid. It's also, it doesn't have those bluey purple tones. That's just my lighting. It's mid-October, so, you know, doing with what we can. It's beautiful and it's perfect and it is exactly what I was looking for this design. So Rita Marie, thank you so much, my twin, for the suggestion. It did not come hanged up like this, but I thought that I would hang it up because I just like it like that. So there's that. Very excited. And then I have a couple of charts from 1884 Stitchery. The first is Praiseworthy Stitches Sunflower Bee Garden Sampler. This was Sampler September. And it says, how doth the busy little bee improve each shining hour and gather honey all the day from every opening flower. Super pretty. I really like that. I almost started it, but like I said, I was kind of in the mood for a true reproduction. But we all know that the reason that I placed that order, sacred to the memory. This is an 1884 Stitchery exclusive. This is a reproduction. Should have started this. Maybe I didn't have it at that point. I don't know. I should have started this. I may still, because it's kind of dark October-y. I mean, it's a tombstone sampler, so yeah. Anyway, I love this and happy to support McKenna in her charting endeavors. So there's that. The final thing I have here in nope, just kidding. I have a few more things. But one of the final things that I have here in Stash Acquisitions is a new project bag. But this is my Christmas present project bag. I finally got some glitter, vinyl glitter goodness. And this is a Christine Stitch All the Things project bag. And I finally was successful and got this beauty. Oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. So Thine is the Trick and the Treat is going to go in here. Yeah, I know that Thine is the Trick and the Treat is, I'm going to keep saying it. It's dark, but I don't care. This is beautiful. It's going in here. So very excited about that. Christine, your bags are beautiful. So gorgeous. Okay. I completely forgot. I had set this stuff aside because this is what I got like 2 days ago. So I needed some threads for Jack's Bash. And I decided to go with the called for that because I've had a couple of instances of just trying to kit up myself and it takes a long time and I just didn't want to have to think. So I just ordered the called fors that I didn't have and could get a hold of. The only one that I can't seem to find is Walnut from Gentle Art Sampler, but I'm sure that I can find a usable substitution. So these are gorgeous, and I am super excited to start this. This is Piney Woods, and it's not that pale, but again, my lighting is going, so there's that. Okay, the actual true final thing that I have here this is for sure, sorry, I'm going to Minnesota without you. So in the last 2 months, I have been, I use this term loosely, binge watching Deborah Stitch the Stash. I'm terrible at binge watching, and so it took me a while. But I had the opportunity to meet her at New Jersey FlossTube retreat, and so I thought that I would go back and just watch her full catalog. She's been on FlossTube for, I think, a little over a year now. She's great. Go watch her. She's great. Unless you can't be enabled, like, for whatever reason, go watch her channel. She's great. And she got me on a few things. And one of those things is Summer House Stitchworks. So while we were at retreat, she was working on this super cute little owl. And it is a part of a series from Summer House called The Baltimore Bride. 2 of them you can find. 2 of them, it's hard to find. They're hard to track down. I don't even know how you might go about finding those. Anyway, so that got me looking at Summer House Stitchworks, and I found this series that I had to have. And so now I do. This is the Fragments in Time sampler motifs. And I don't know enough about this to know anything about these Fragments in Time, other than it seems that she does one of these series every year. And the recent ones are dated. This one is not dated. It's Fragments in Time sampler motifs. And I had a hard time tracking these down. These are not super readily available, but I did find the whole set from an eBay seller. So I have all 8 of these, and so I'll just flip through them real quick. These are really, really pretty. And so I'm going to have to stitch this possibly next year. I think I may put them all together. And the final one. Oh, I love it. And they use all the same 5 colors. It's Gentle Arts Cinnamon, Grecian Gold Endive, Chamomile, and Wood Trail. So anyway, I love this, and I'm looking forward to starting this. Thanks for the enabling, Deborah. She got me real good. I have a couple of things sitting in a cart because of her. So yeah, that is going to do it for me for today. I think that that's all of the stash. There's probably more, but it's been worked into stuff and things. But anyway, I'm getting awkward here at the end, so it's probably a good time to be finished, which is where we're at. I need to head off here, get to editing. I need to start making some lists because I've got retreat here in just 48 hours, and I'm so excited. Cannot wait. Can't wait to see everybody at Stitch Fest. And to those who aren't going to make it to this year's Stitch Fest, I am thinking of you. Okay, time to go. I will see you guys next time. I'm hoping this time next week or mid-week next week. Hopefully I will be able to make that. So, happy stitching, everybody. As always, be kind. I will see you in the next one.